Yo, what's up guys, Lord Seno here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a weapon enchant tier list. So people have been asking me to do this for a long time, and I hope that this video can help you understand which of your weapon enchants are more valuable, and what to use in PvP and PvE. Alright, so first we have the Wild enchant, and Wild actually allows you to hit multiple players at once. So if you hit someone and then near another player, then it will hit them as well. I don't think this enchant is that good. I think it's actually pretty bad, considering the fact that it can actually harm you if you're near your allies. It can be good when you're fighting multiple players, but even so, the effect is like so small and it doesn't really proc that often, so I'm not going to put it in too high of a tier. Could probably put it in C tier. Next we have the Metal enchant. Metal actually got gutted, so it steals your enemy's armor. It used to be 19% per hit, but now it's 5%. And by the time that you actually knock someone, you're not going to have stolen all of their armor. So this enchant basically does nothing against high level players. This is a D tier enchant for sure. Next we have Deferred. So Deferred is actually like the opposite of Viscosity. It ticks down your opponent's health like poison damage. I don't think it actually buffs the damage that you do. So this enchant is pretty useless. I don't think it actually does anything. And this is also a D tier enchant. It's just useless to have. Next we have Providence Fawns, and Providence Fawns is S tier for PvE and like B tier for PvP, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. Providence Fawns basically hits your opponent with a little light thing whenever you parry their attacks, and that can be parried, but it's free damage nonetheless if you do manage to get it off. And against enemies like the Primadon, you can kill it really quickly because it's percent based, and the Primadon will actually kill itself. And it makes farming so good. This is an enchant that's really valuable. In terms of how valuable it is, it's probably an S tier enchant. Next we have the Stone enchant, which I believe gives you extra posture damage when your opponent isn't blocking. This is alright, it's not that bad. Having extra posture damage can mean the difference between a guard break and not guard breaking. Especially if you have the Ardor Murmur, you can get off way more guard breaks if you have this enchant. Next we have Tainted Sorrow. Tainted Sorrow, I'm sure you've seen the video I just did on this. This is the best enchant in the game, quite easily. It gives you hit stun on your M1s, even more than Storm. It actually knocks your opponent into the air and does extra damage if you hit a certain amount of M1s. And you can pull them back to you from basically any range with your critical attacks. This is really just overpowered, and I don't know why it's that good. Next we have the Chilling enchant. Chilling is pretty okay. I mean, what it does is you need a certain amount of hits, and then your opponent gets frozen, which allows you to land a free hit. If you have like a heavy hitting magic like Ice, then you can do a lot of damage, and that'll be like an A tier enchant. If your magic doesn't have that much damage, and you don't have any mantras to make the most of this, then this can be like a B tier enchant. I'm gonna put it in A tier just for argument's sake. Next we have Vampirism. So Vampirism is one of the most valuable enchants in the game. For PvE it heals even more. It gives you your health back whenever you M1 something. In PvE it's a lot. You basically just cannot die unless you're really bad at the game. It makes PvE so much easier against Primadon and Snow Knights. You can literally just stat check a Snow Knight if you have a Vampirism weapon. In PvP it's okay, but the healing is a lot less. This is still an S tier enchant, and it's just really good. Next we have Curse of the Umbra Knight. Umbra Knight actually just gives you 20% extra damage on your M1 every 5 seconds. This is really good, it's just a free damage buff. Obviously you need to do the downside, which is you need 1 grip a day, or your soul gets destroyed and you wipe. But that isn't much of a downside, it's so easy just to find a person to kill, and then satiate the blade. It's free damage, and there isn't really much more you could ask for it. Next we have Bloodthirsty. This makes you do 10% extra damage, and you take 2% damage whenever you miss an M1. People are not going to agree with me. I do not like Bloodthirsty. I think it's really bad actually. I think it's a C tier enchant. So 10% extra damage? That's so minuscule. It's not even noticeable. Like, you could literally get 6% from stars alone. And okay, let's do some maths here, alright? So let's say you have a Shattered Katana, 34 damage, right? So 10% of that is 3.4. 3.4 damage that's how much extra you're dealing per M1. You lose 2% of your HP whenever you miss an M1. So let's say you 500 HP, that's the normal for a level 60 player. You're gonna actually be losing 10 HP for every M1 that you miss, and you're only gonna be doing 3.4 extra damage. So you need to land 3 M1s for every miss in order to make this an even value. If you miss more than 1 M1 for every 3 that you hit, this is actually harmful to you. This will actually hurt your character. I do not like this enchant, and it's really overrated. Okay, next we have Detonation. Detonation used to be pretty solid S tier, 3 damage like Umbra Knight, but now it got gutted. It does a lot less. It basically does an explosion whenever you do Flourish, and the damage isn't even that much, and good players aren't even going to get hit by this too often. So this is a C tier enchant. It's 3 damage, but it doesn't proc that often. Actually, it can execute your enemies, so for that reason I'm going to put it in B tier, because it's just an alternate way to execute people, and in a team fight that can be somewhat useful. Curse of the No Life King. So this gives you your opponent insanity whenever you hit them, and you gain passive health regen, but you are permanently on 1 life and you lose blood a lot faster. This is a pretty good enchant. I'm stuck between B and A tier. I think it's A tier enchant. You lose blood really fast, so it's bad against Cerulean Knife users, but apart from that, you just gain free health regen and insanity on hits. You just gotta be like really careful with your blood bar. You obviously cannot use it in the depths, or you go insane really fast and you die, so that's a pretty big downside. Yeah, you just really want to watch your blood bar, or it can make you die really quickly. Next we have Curse of Yunshul. I don't know if this enchant is like glitched, but I saw Revolver AGC's video on this, and it literally did nothing. It says on the wiki it has a chance to do 3 times damage, but I watched his video and he hit the guy you hit his ult like 20 times and it didn't do any extra damage. Like, this is a useless curse. It's definitely the worst enchant in the game, in my opinion. The wiki says that it has a chance for your opponent to do 3 times damage to you, and you have a chance to do 3 times damage to them. And even if it did work, that would be so bad. Like, why would you want that? It just makes you squishier, but it's basically like Ishin's ring. It's like no reason to have it. It's useless. Blazing. I believe Blazing has a 20% chance of setting your opponent on fire on M1s. This could be alright if you have fire synergy. In that case, it can be like a solid B tier. But apart from that, 20% chance is not really that high, and your opponent can just roll. It's not really a great enchant. It used to be really good, like A, S tier, but now it's a B tier. Next we have the Elastic Enchant. This is a really good enchant. It pulls your enemy back to you whenever you land an M1, and this can allow you to do some ridiculous combos. It's so good for catching people you're trying to run, and you can use it to confirm kills on people who are really low. And if they try to run into the water, if you hit someone with your Elastic Enchant in the water, it has a chance of like dropping them down to the sea, and when they come up they take a lot of fall damage, which is just really stupid. This is a good enchant, especially good on guns too. Next we have the Storm Enchant. So the Storm Enchant has a slightly increased hit stun on your M1s. It's not that much, but it is somewhat noticeable. It also increases the damage of the weapon by 50% in rain. This is a solid A tier, maybe S tier enchant. Hit stun is nice, but it's not really that much. Your opponent can just parry the next hits. And the damage is also really nice, but it rarely rains for longer than half a minute, so I want to put this in A tier. Next we have the Obfuscation Enchant, and this is an obvious S tier for me. Obfuscation just increases your attack speed of the weapon by 10%, and it makes it invisible, so it's harder to actually see certain weapons. This is really good because your opponent has to get used to a different parry timing, and it's pretty hard to adjust to an Obfuscation weapon. Yeah, it's really just a game changer. This enchant is really good. And now we have the Siren enchant. Siren is really good actually. It steals your first, and people say that's a meme, right? That's a shit enchant. Not gonna have any use. But let me tell you, in water fights, this thing it will not let you play the game. Like, if you fight someone with a Siren enchant in the water, they're actually just, you have to drink something every like 3 seconds. Your opponent is just gonna kill you just like that. It's really that good in water. If you have this, and then you can just run into the sea, and then your opponent cannot chase you because they're gonna die. This is really good, and people don't know how to make the most of it. Next we have Providence of Storms, I believe this is called. I don't even know if it's real. I've never seen it before. If it's real, then it's rarer than Tainted Sorrow, so I can't really speak on it. Apparently it just increases your attack speed. I think this is a fake enchant, because I've never seen a video on this. I'm just gonna leave it here because I don't know what to say about this. Next we have the Gluttony enchant. It's like Seer, but it also drains your opponent's hunger. It drains their thirst as well, but it does less. And this is also an A tier for the same reason that Seer is an A tier. It just makes it so that your opponent cannot fight you in the water, which is a really good upside. Next we have the Grimanchon, which gives you armor penetration on your M1s. And this is good, it's just free armor pen. Why would you not want that? It's really good enchant. It used to be much better, it used to give you bonus damage, and I think it slowed them as well, but those two effects got removed. It's still pretty decent, A tier, maybe B tier. I'll put it in A tier. And now we have the Heroism enchant. Heroism back in its day used to be overpowered. It used to be here, S tier, best enchant in the game. It used to do 3 times damage when you were at full HP. But now it does 25% extra damage when you're at full HP, and the lower HP you are, the less damage you deal. This is pretty much just a neutral enchant, just like Deferred. I don't see why people like this. It doesn't give you hyper armor and M1s anymore, and there really isn't any reason to use this, unless you're going for like some mage build where you don't lose HP. It's pretty useless. I want to put it in C tier. Alright guys, that's my Deepwoken weapon enchant tier list. If you disagree or agree with me, let me know in the comments why. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.